Hey guys, welcome back. It's Hugh Sweeney here, and yesterday morning as I got out of bed I noticed there was a brand new email from Panasonic UK saying, Hugh, your Panasonic S1 camera has a brand new firmware update. And I said, yes, finally, the things I'm looking for in the S1 are here. So as I poured my coffee, I was very excited thinking of what they might have updated. I said to myself, this will make great content for a YouTube video, but sadly the update was terrible. So I decided to do a video about gimbal moves, my top gimbal moves shared with you guys. Now some of these are moves you might already use, some might be new to you, and also some of the moves aren't really moves but more so pointers. So the first cool gimbal move I would recommend would be to actually use your bike. So now it's time to get on the bike. I know it sounds crazy, and I know you might want to lean towards a one-wheeler or one of those other hoverboards. Now there are situations where they're better than a bike, but a bike is a really good way of using your gimbal. And in the past I've filmed events where I've cycled alongside athletes and stuff over a long distance, and you can just cycle and cycle without worrying about using a battery. Plus you can change terrain as well. You can actually cycle off curbs, you can go through grass and even a bit of gravel. So I love using my bike. So my second gimbal move tip for you guys today is something a little bit more unusual that you mightn't have heard already, and that is to change the aperture of your lens mid-shot. Now to do this you will need a motorized focus motor like this, which comes with the AK4500. Now this is relatively cheap if you want to buy it. I haven't got it connected obviously, but you can connect this, and instead of connecting it to your focus, you can connect it to your aperture. You will need a lens with a declicked aperture or a cine lens like what I have here, but it means that you can change aperture from outside to inside whilst doing a gimbal shot really smoothly, and you can get great results. I've used it recently to shoot from outside a window back into an apartment, and it looked really cool. So that's something that you might have tried that may be of great benefit to you. Another gimbal move or tip, more so this time I would say, is to shoot at 60 frames per second when it's required. Again, I was doing some real estate type stuff lately and I was shooting at 24 frames per second, and I was trying to do controlled movements, kind of slow over a bed. And I just found that when I'm holding the gimbal out like that and I'm trying to move slow, that it's a little bit tiring and it's quite difficult to do it. So I found myself moving a bit too fast, and then I couldn't slow it down in post. Whereas if I had shot it at 60 and moved really fast and then slowed it all down 2.5 times, I would have got lovely velvety smooth footage. But I wasn't able to do that because I'd shot at 24 frames per second. So be very careful in what frames per second you want to shoot. So one move I like to do when I'm on the bike is I like to do what I call the parallax move. Generally it involves shooting perpendicular to the direction you're going so that you're facing sideways, and you get this lovely sort of almost like hyperlapse from the side, and it's a very nice effect and it's worked really well for me. Now you can add a little bit of spice in there by actually keeping the direction of the camera the same as you change the direction you're going. So go from going straight on to going parallel that way. If you know the scene that you're shooting and it's got some interesting details that will work in conjunction with that, you can get awesome cinematic results. Another cool gimbal move that I like to do, and I've only done it a few times, is a move that I call the wipe orbit, right? But what it is basically is if you shoot orbitally around your subject and intentionally go very close to one part of it, you can do a cut there and move to another shot in which you also move close to something else. So if you move past the objects in your frame at the same speed, you can do a lovely little wipe edit and go from one scene to the next, and it's just seamless. So bear in mind you're going to be going really close to the actual subject with the front of the lens. Just remember to keep your speed the same in the different shots so that when you do your wipe edit, it's going to match perfectly. So another pointer I'd give you guys when it comes to gimbals is to be really subtle. When you set up a gimbal, the first thing you do is try and do really big movements and run around everywhere, and you end up just sort of with all these big long shots. It's the same with drones. You know, you're flying a drone, you're trying to do too much with the shot. Keep it subtle. Sometimes less is more. And even with the gimbal, like a simple crane shot, just dropping down, or even just move the gimbal a meter or two. Less is more, shorter distances and cooler movements. It's always nice to actually use a gimbal to sort of go into a different location and reveal something different. And you can do that with gimbals where you can't really do it handheld or on a tripod or anything. So sometimes you reveal something new. So shoot to reveal, and bear in mind that you can reverse these things as well and play them backwards and reveal out of something. So that's another cool tip. Another little pointer is that the first time you shoot with the gimbal, when you set it up, is do a shot or two and watch it back in screen. This caught me out a few times, both with the Ronin S and with this gimbal here, where I had it on a sort of a sports setting. And I actually did a few jobs where the gimbal was actually rocky. It wasn't perfectly smooth because I just switched it on. I thought it had the right setting. So if you just watch it back, play it back, and make sure that you have that perfect smooth playback, if you want that of course, before you actually go shoot stuff. So that's what happened to me yesterday. I didn't check it and it was arseways and it ruined my shots. Now another move I like to do is to sort of dirty up the gimbal shot with something in the foreground that's close to the camera with your subject further on. This can be nice when you're shooting, say, a subject moving at the same speed as you, where you have, you know, plants or a railing that's halfway between you and the subject, and you just get the subject moving with you, and then you have something that's going past in between. It's just a lovely sublime effect, and it can do with the height that you're holding your gimbal at as well. And I think that's a cool look to your moves. Another tip I would seriously give gimbal users is not to be too ambitious with focus. When you're trying to operate a gimbal and you're trying to focus at the same time, it can really do your nut in. And you end up spending so much time trying to get correct focus that you really compromise on your gimbal. So sometimes I like to just keep it simple and set my focus on a wide angle lens and not try and complicate it too much. But of course it depends. If you have a really good autofocus camera like the EOS R, it can do the job for you and you can just focus on the gimbal move. So those are my top gimbal moves and tricks. Keep it subtle, keep it smooth, and don't overdo it. Those are the big ones. And thank you for watching this video, guys. I'm sort of full-time doing YouTube these days, and I know I'm already late with this video this week, but I'm gonna try and get one over the weekend as well to keep up my promise of 2 videos a week. And until next time then, that's all from myself, Hugh Sweeney. So I will see you guys in the next video.